Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Alien versus Predator Galaxy podcast, the original Alien and Predator podcast. This is regular host Aaron Percival, aka Corporal Hicks, and I'm joined by my usual salvagers, young salvagers. We can't forget that part. We're also ever so young.
Adam Zeller, aka RidgeTop.
Eric Adams, aka Xenomorphine.
Greg, also known as Still Collating.
And this is episode 187, and we are recording live, broadcasting live to our patrons out there. And this episode, just to warn our listeners, is going to be a very dirty, rough, no edit podcast because this is going to go this weekend. Because unfortunately, at the minute, I'm a little behind. I'm a little behind on the editing. We've recorded a fuck ton of episodes, and we've had quite a few done on a first pass. But these last 2 months have been fucking killing me because of work. So hopefully, it's going to. The thing that was causing everything happened yesterday for me. I worked, I was awake 25, 26 hours. I worked 12, about an 18-hour shift. Spent yesterday asleep, pretty much in and out of consciousness all day. Hopefully it's gonna settle out soon, and I can get back to editing things. But yes, this one's going to be thrown out there, so apologies for any of the rough and tumble bits of podcast in this episode,
because otherwise it would be out after Covenant or Romulus.
Yes,
it will actually be after Covenant. Yes.
It really would. The Bishop. How long did Bishop take me to do? Was it like 2 months, a month and a half, something like that? It was bad. It was bad. Yeah.
But only 2 weeks to go.
That's it. God, yes! I'm so fucking excited. So excited for this. How about you guys? Are you on the hype train? Have you been coping?
I'm on the hype express. Completely.
The hype is palpable right now. Yeah. It definitely seems like there's a big marketing push for this movie that exceeded anything we got with Covenant. I just got back from San Diego Comic-Con, so there was a lot of marketing there as well for the film. So yeah, this is that time where we're right on the eve of being able to finally see the movie, and it's just very exciting.
It's funny. I was talking to Greg about this before we kind of started, though, and I said to him, I kind of miss the longer drawn out period of marketing from like the days of AvP, because it feels like we've just got this onslaught of posters, onslaught of clips, onslaught of trailers, all the TV spots this last 2 weeks, maybe. And I kind of missed a little bit more time to settle with everything.
It definitely feels like movie marketing is way more condensed these days, and I think it's just the age we live in, people's attention spans. But
well, that's the theory, isn't it? You can't. Apparently, if you release something too far in advance, everybody forgets about it by the time the film rolls around. So it's just like the 2 weeks before the thing releases, you just throw everything at the audience and go, you can't forget this. Do not forget this. Make sure you get your tickets. Please buy your tickets. Let's go.
When it rains, it pours. Yeah,
and all the
marketing, and then
all the theaters are trying to incentivize people to go to theirs with little extras, be it like a popcorn bucket or a poster you might get. I know Alamo Drafthouse has these the beer glasses as well as some pins that they're doing. So,
and Adam, of course, as a lucky American, will be going to all of said chains at one point, won't you?
Yes, I will try and find all the goodies. I actually have the Cinemark one right here. So I think that's the first one to hit theaters. This is actually the Covenant head though. Whereas I guess the Regal one is the like the head design from Romulus. But yeah, apparently they're already sold out in a lot of places. I know my friend Mike in LA told me they were sold out everywhere. I got the last one at my theater, but they said another box was had just arrived. So don't feed the scalpers, everybody. I believe more are coming.
Yeah. They don't tend to be too limited. My experience of working in a cinema back in the day was that there was always a fuck ton of stuff left over.
Well, there seems to be a real thing with popcorn buckets right now. Going even back before the Dune one, you had everyone losing their minds for like the Figment popcorn bucket at Disney World, waiting all day for it. So,
Jesus Christ. I mean, to be fair, I'm also sat over here just wanting to fucking slap you just because you get this opportunity to go and get all these cool fucking buckets. I mean,
I'm
me and Eric are gonna end up with some shitty fucking
Pencil
like
sharpener.
topper. No, you
Yeah,
know, on the
pencil sharpener,
the
actually.
plastic cups, and you have those little crappy bobble kind of things on top of them. It's all we seem to get over here, and they're terrible.
I'm surprised you're not getting all the same stuff that we're getting. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of UK Alien fans, so one would
Yeah,
think.
well, I mean, all our chains seem to be struggling. You know, we've got Cineworld that's losing like 25 cinemas soon. I don't think Odeon's ever been great recently anyway, and that's pretty much our two. Well, what else we got? View. Yeah.
Yeah, View's the
So
main one.
we don't get good stuff. You know, Rob Harvey, one of our patrons, joined us in the chat, and he says, "I wonder if there's a slight chance we'll get any cups or buckets in the UK." And I'm like, "No, Rob, I'm sorry, mate. We're really not going to get anything." Although, yeah, no. It does make a good point in the chat though. Odeon is doing Deadpool cups and key rings. I've seen one of them. I can't remember which brand which chain it was, but they were doing like a baby Deadpool on like a little throne or something. So there's a possibility, but I think it's a very small, slight possibility. I think we've just been too slow on the uptake of popular, of the promotional material like that being popular.
Yeah, collectible stuff. I think when I was working at a cinema I was at View, and they did like embossed metal painted popcorn things. They were metal buckets, about, I don't know, that big. And they did that for Rogue One and Solo, and the rest was just like generic stuff they've just given. Like, they put the label on, they just painted the label on like a conventional popcorn holder. It's most of it's just like leaflets and things. I got a poster when I watched the Jurassic World sequel, I think. You get posters mostly, that's it. You don't really get much in the way of collectibles here in the UK.
Casper said in the chat as well, he's another one of our patrons who's joined us. The popcorn bucket is going for 36 quid on eBay.
That's about around what I paid for it at the theater. I'm sure there's much higher listings than that.
Is it really
So,
36?
It will go higher.
I think it's 30 something. Yeah, it
will go
cheap.
higher.
Fair, but we'll see. Adam, make sure you get me some.
Okay, I'll find you one.
I want the face hugger, and then
Okay.
the other head.
Okay, I'll get them all.
Okay, multiples of everything. So...
even my local theater, Megaplex, they're doing like this themed food item. They're doing like alien egg donuts that have this green frosting on them and stuff. I'm like, wow, even my local chain is doing something for this. Like, this movie, the hype is real. So
the marketing push is a lot more evident than with the recent entries. I was honestly doubting that we would get such a marketing push, but I'm not complaining. I'm happy to see that a lot of different circles of people are talking about the movie and starting to be aware of it. I have family and friends that have come up to me and went like, "Oh, there's another Alien movie coming out." And they generally don't notice those kind of things. I don't think they really did for Prometheus or Covenant. So it's getting out there.
I had that today as well with random.
It should be remembered, things like the special molded popcorn deal, those are deals that are usually done in advance. So I think, considering this film was originally just going to be streaming only, like with Prey, and then something changed and they decided to do a big screen release of it, And clearly, this is an indicator of Disney has a lot of faith in this, because
Mhm.
they wouldn't be doing these kind of, even if it's like mostly US centric, they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't think there'll be a demand for this stuff. So I think that's a positive indicator that they think this film has legs. It's not just they're doing it for the sake of it.
See, I think it was very much Prey that pushed that sort of move to theatrical, and it seems to be working relatively well. I met a bunch of my new co-workers today, and we were just talking about stuff, and I mentioned the new Alien film, and they all pretty much knew straight away. It was Romulus and stuff like that, which was nice. I enjoyed that, and I was gonna pass it off to you, Adam, to sort of tell us about Comic Con, but I'm not really sure you'll be able to. Was there much Romulus stuff there after the panel?
I mean, the NECA booth was giving away posters, but yeah, unfortunately, I did have to miss the Romulus panel, which happened the night before I got in. It was kind of bad timing with Comic Con for me because I had a business convention in Vegas that very same week. So I had to cut that short to get over to Comic Con. If it would have been on Saturday, I would have made it. But I still, and maybe we can talk about this more later, I did get to talk to the folks at Servios, including writer Alex White, who we now know is involved with the game Alien Rogue Incursion. And so I interviewed all those folks. They were very nice, and that was really cool. And I'll be editing that and putting that on our YouTube channel now. But at Comic Con, yeah, there were advertisements everywhere for Romulus on like the digital banners. They were playing the trailer all the time. So
Did you go see the pulse rifle prop?
I did, yeah. So that was at I got some pictures of video of that as well. That was, I believe, Hollywood Collectibles Group
Yeah,
is
that's right.
doing that one. Yeah, so that looked really cool in person.
Yeah, I'm actually very much liking this new prop. I'm very curious to finally see it up on the big screen. It really does. You compare the effort that's gone into this prop in Romulus to the effort that went into the fucking AUGs
Covenant.
in
Yeah.
Covenant, and it's like, yeah, okay. Fede appreciates his weapons that actually look different. I mean, you can obviously see the Chris Vector influences in it,
Yeah.
but it's not a Chris Vector just with a little bit of shit on it. I really like it. The stock, the folding out stock thing looks very interesting, and I kind of hope to see it be problematic and be like one of those ingenious, ambitious things that doesn't quite work out in the prototype that's dropped. Sort of going forwards as the design evolves. But I love it. I think it looks brilliant.
Yeah, it still has that classic kind of pulse rifle look, but it is also its own thing. And the color scheme, the white with the red stripes and some of the black accents, is very reminiscent of the shotgun from Alien Isolation. So maybe yet again more Isolation influence of this movie.
I really cannot wait to have Fede on the show and ask him about how much deliberate influence he took from Isolation, or how much he sort of pushed that down on the art department. We know we've seen the save stations. Fede recently shared a bunch of behind the scenes pictures as well. That was one of the first things we clocked on his first tease that he did 2 Alien days ago. But I'm led to believe there's some stories behind the inclusion of the save station, because we'll be having a bunch of artists on the show as well after release, and very curious to hear how much of that sort of comes from them, how much of that is Fede's own experience with the game pushing down. Because I mean, even seems to be a little bit of Stompy influence in the latest clip that they've released yesterday as of recording, or the day before, something like that.
Yesterday.
Yeah, that's what you were saying, Greg. You were telling us about the isolation vibes, and I'm at the point where the marketing push is so heavy that I'm trying to pull back a bit and not watch as much. But with this one, I just gave in. I was like, okay, I'll watch the clip, and it was short. It didn't give away too much, and yeah, it definitely reminded me of isolation
Shall
atmosphere.
we start watching that clip?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you get it ready real quick? I also wanted to mention about San Diego Comic-Con. I did see the Alien Romulus figures and accessories they had at the NECA booth, and those have actually
Oh,
gone
but
up for pre-order.
before you go though, spoilers. So many spoilers. We're going to be
I
talking
wasn't,
about.
yeah. I, I guess I'll
Well,
mention that now that you've given a warning, but
We should just say Mike's Monsters, who's a friend of the channel, on his channel, he said that they're not actually as big. They're like, actually, you think they're big spoilers, but he said, having seen the film, he said they're
it's
not really
still.
big spoilers at all.
I know, but
So,
it's still something. Okay, sorry. Just before we go on, so yes, spoilers. We're going to be talking about the new trailers.
there
We're
are
going to be talking
spoilers.
about the new figures that have revealed something that I would have personally expected them to keep a lid on, even if it's not quite as big as you might expect. So if you are trying to avoid the marketing, if you are trying to avoid the sort of information that's coming out from the interviews, stop listening, stop listening, stop watching, and come back later, shall we say. Anyway, sorry, Adam, go ahead.
But yeah, the figure looked great. A lot of people at the booth were definitely checking it out, and again, I got pictures of videos and videos which I'm working on right now. The accessories also looked really cool. The big prominent one, which you're talking about, Aaron, is of course Big Chap in his stone-looking cocoon thing, which seems to be an entirely new sculpt by NECA, which I know people have kind of um, not been 100% happy with their Big Chap sculpt before. So if they ever do release a Big Chap again, uh, it is nice to know that they have kind of a new sculpt that they used here. Rob Harvey asks, aside from NECA Adam, was there any other licensed merch there? There was Hollywood Collectibles Group had a lot of stuff. They had like plasma casters from Predator. They had like this really cool dropship, and of course the full size proto pulse rifles from the new movie. I didn't see any other. Maybe at the Funko booth they had the pop ones, but I didn't see those there.
No Sideshow?
Sorry.
Uh,
No,
sorry, uh,
Sideshow didn't have a booth there this year, at least not that I saw. But NECA definitely had, I think, the most prominent Romulus thing. They had a photo op that my girlfriend and I did where you take a picture. They have a background that's like Nostromo looking. They had their full size alien egg there, and you take a picture, and then they quickly like superimpose their full life size face hugger on it to make it look like it was jumping out at you. I actually thought they would have a mechanical thing in there, like jump out at me. So I was like ready for it, but no, it was just something they slap on the image afterwards. But they gave away the IMAX Romulus poster afterwards, so that was cool.
Did you not go to the? Was it the wheelchair one?
Oh, I did. Yeah, the I was going to do a post on that shortly, but yeah, there's I think like a wheelchair foundation there that had this really cool like a power loader with a xenomorph above it. Kind of reminded me a bit of that old Aliens Colonial Marines display. So I got a picture with that as well, and that was fun.
That's cool. Casper's laughs at the NECA bundle in the chat. £80 for the bundle with $80 for the bundle with $70 shipping.
Well, yeah, NECA
Shipping
prices have gone up.
yeah.
At least they've given you. I think it was free shipping when I got it. Maybe
Only in the States, mate. Only in the
yeah,
States.
I guess only
So
in the States.
I believe Casper's is Polish. So well, it's like when you send me stuff. How ridiculous is shipping at the minute from States?
Yeah, international shipping is rough. But I was surprised they were the first to do a pre-order. I don't know how common that is with NECA. I don't think I've seen it too much before.
Extremely rare with them.
It definitely seems like, because I know we were all wondering if they had lost the license for a while, and then they had Prey, and now they have this. So it seems like they're not doing as many releases as they were before with the property. So maybe there was a renegotiation of contracts or whatever. But they are focusing on these more singular big releases. And I've noticed their quality control, like one of their biggest issues I had with them in the past, has been improved really ever since the ultimate Lost Tribe Predators. And then the Fireteam Elite figures I thought were some of the best figures they had ever done. And that's kind of when we thought they were losing the license. I was like, oh man, you guys waited till now to do like these really awesome figures. But Feral has seemed really cool. I got the SDCC exclusive, like partially cloaked Feral. So I'll be doing an unboxing of that one as well. And again, the Romulus stuff looks great. So
have you pre-ordered them?
Yes, yeah, I pre-ordered it from NECA. Also, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the folks over at the Perfect Organism podcast. After that first day there was a really stressful day with a lot of travel. We all went and got beers, my girlfriend and I, with Jamie, Patrick, and Christian. It was the first time I had met Patrick and Christian in person, and all those guys were just super nice, and we chatted it up. And Alex White also came along and joined us for dinner, and we all had a really great conversation. So
you get all the fun stuff, all the fun. I always give them crap for the short notice they give me for things. The guys at PO, and like the few times that Jamie's been over, has messaged me like the day before. Are you doing anything? I'm like, no, Jamie, I don't work off 24 hours notice. So no, that's cool that you guys got to hang out with them.
It must have been an awesome experience.
Yeah, no, we were all just nerding out, because we're all in the same stuff. So it was, and it was great talking to Alex as well, since we had them on the podcast before, being able to, because it was interesting because I was interviewing them at the press event for the game earlier that day, and then we were just like casually chatting and having a beer later, and I wasn't like worried about getting the interview right and everything. So yeah, no, all those folks are just awesome people.
Were you particularly worried with the interview?
I mean, I never like those press events where I don't know what to expect, and I was getting a bit nervous when it's like, okay, we're going to sit you at a table with a bunch of other outlets. I'm like, I hope this isn't like the Predator premiere where I'm just like shoved in here and I'm supposed to like force questions on these people. But it wasn't quite that stressful. I think it went pretty well. I wish I would have had a bit more time. We didn't get to the composer, unfortunately, before the next group kind of came in and kicked us all out. But yeah,
you seem to get more time than I thought you would have.
It's about like 30 minutes, I think.
Mm.
And they were just kind of rotating the different people, the different press tables.
So when you're looking to get that out next week?
Yes. I know you're going to be cracking the whip on me with that one. Yeah, I'm hoping to get that. It should be a quick and easy edit, so I'm hoping to get that done this weekend, and then early next week we'll be going up.
Good. So shall we watch that clip then? I should also talk about my footage presentation thing at some point today as well. But we'll watch the clip first, and then we'll sort of work our way back from the things that have been released. So I've also got the Japanese trailer from a couple of days ago as well, and the final full trailer that we had. I say that in quotation marks, but okay, let's add it. And for our audio listeners, obviously you'll just hear the audio, but for our YouTube audience, it'll be on the screen shortly. Oh, that's a nice profile shot. That is a moment straight out of the video games.
Yep. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, the water is clearly influenced by Brett and his scene. Very much like metal and water.
Yeah. So for the audio listeners, sorry, that was the clip of Kay, which is Isabel Merced's character crawling under a grate, under a walkway, and an alien, dropping on top, and sort of pausing there for a moment before disappearing through a vent carrying 2 bodies with it. I really like the profile shot of the alien. I think that looks nice. But yeah, it was only like a 50-second clip. But definitely isolation vibes. And Greg, I'll let you continue there.
Well, I have a lot of opinions about, especially this last trailer. If we take it on its own, it looks and feels amazing. It is very suspenseful, and the performance Isabel is giving makes you feel the danger and the terror there. As a snippet of the movie, it gives me confidence in the sense of how will the horror and tension aspects be directed in the movie. So I am really liking what I saw there. And of course, as a huge fan of the game Alien Isolation, to see those references even in such a relatively short video is also great. But at the same time, I do have a few nitpicks that kind of they do bug the inner alien nerd in me. And reading some of the comments on our forums about other community members who were discussing what they liked and didn't like it, I do get both sides. So as somebody who, even though I absolutely adores Alien Isolation and believes it's probably the best Alien game to date.
What do you mean probably?
Well, I love Dark Descent a lot, so
that's Aliens. That's different. That's fine.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about in the sense of all Alien or AvP games together, but Alien Isolation is probably at the top there. The only thing I do not like about Alien Isolation so much is how much Stompy is stomping around. The amount of noise.
This old chat.
Yes, but I get it for a game mechanics. It's understandable. That's okay. But when that's translated into a movie, that can be sometimes it just clashes with the first 3 films in the sense how silent the alien usually is. An ambush predator that can literally sneak up behind you without you noticing anything. So having the creature be that noisy, others also sometimes complain that everything from Alien Resurrection onward, the aliens hiss too much, too loudly, just out of nowhere, announcing their presence. But when we combine with a heavy grating sounds there, as sound design, it's great. It's well thought out, but lore-wise, it can be a bit harder to justify. It's not that bad since the alien dropped down, has 2 bodies carrying with it, so that's not technically probably even the alien stomping so loud. That's literally dragging 2 bodies with legs hitting on the metal. It just realistically, yeah, it would be extremely loud. So on that side, it does maybe alleviate some concern that maybe the alien won't be so noisy all the time. We do have other trailers where it seems the alien sneaks up on someone. So I just want to see that continue to be shown that the alien still can be super stealthy and sneak up on people. As long as that is shown somewhere else, I'm completely fine with it. And just the last part when the bodies are being dragged through that vent hole or whatever it was. First, when the trailer immediately came out, I saw it in the first few minutes and the resolution was still kind of buggy. I wasn't sure what that was. And even the distance, I was like, is that a facehugger finger? Does that kind of look like a queen facehugger fingers? And then, like, oh, is that a weird alien tail or something? But then later I realized, oh my god, those are people, and it is quite horrifying in that sense. I love it.
I'm glad you at least brought up the context, because I completely understand the complaints about Stompy and the stealth and everything, but it is something to help the player. But there was obviously context within this clip as to why, yes, it should be heavy, why it should make noise. But I also think there's context in terms of the visual focus as well, because it's not focusing on the alien. We're looking at Kay, we're looking at her reactions, the aliens in the background, and then you've the auditory way of having it has a presence on that scene while the visuals are focused on her. I'm like, yes, that makes sense. That's perfect. That's perfect composing of the visual and the scene overall. It is just a short clip, but I think it conveys a lot of atmosphere already. It's this horror vibe, this tension vibe that I think that we've been getting a lot from the trailers, a lot from the clips, a lot from the footage presentation that I went to see, and from what Fede's been saying. So it worked in that regards for me very well. Eric, any thoughts?
Yes. No. I thought the thing I liked about this was they're using sound as a suggestive device. That's what it should be. The only thing I didn't like was we are getting more, the aliens' faces right there. I would prefer less of that in some of the clips we've got. But yeah, as a thing, a scene, yes. What really works about it well is the actress conveying the tension. That's what makes it palpable. I think she does really well in this scene, because it's basically she's just crawling through a pipe, but she really sells it. You get that kind of Lambert-esque feel where she really does not want to move a muscle. It's that kind of in a shark cage type thing. So kudos to the actress. More, we're talking about the effects, but kudos to performance there.
Adam?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good clip. I agree with you, Greg. Heavy isolation vibes, just hearing the alien on the metal, hearing the noises that it's making. And of course, we're seeing some of that Fede Alvarez tension that we expect from his previous works like Evil Dead and Don't Breathe, just focusing on her trying to keep it together while the alien doesn't quite know she's there, but is very close to maybe finding her. Yeah, I thought it was a great clip. I'm glad it was short. I'm glad it didn't show too much. It always seems like they show too much right before the movie comes out. So I am glad I watched it. It didn't give too much away, and I thought it was a really effective clip.
I really hope they don't drop any more little clips like this. But then it'd be a quiet week. We've still got one more week until release. We still want news to post.
I am worried about it starting to be a little too much saturated. I would have been fine if we just had that one teaser thing we did, or the main commercial, and then that was it.
Yeah, well, that's never
I'm a little, I know that, but I am because there is that danger of all the things that it's doing well. If you get overloaded with it, you go, okay, yeah, I like that film. What's next? Rather than getting the impact of the scene. We haven't had that yet. It's just I'm a little bit worried because we've got that 2-week gap still. So as long as it's just get to this, if this is the last one we have, I'm happy.
There's just been so much news lately that it's been hard for us to keep up in recent days with just everything that's been coming out.
But the thing is, everything that has been coming out has pretty much been things that have excited me. I've said all along that I've never been worried about this film, especially since that first trailer, that first teaser, sorry. And then everything that's come out of Fede's mouth since, all the spoilers and stuff, I was like really interested in everything that I heard. And everything to have come out since is doing the job for me. Like I said, that clip was, I think, very well done, very tense, very atmospheric. And I'm really curious to see how Isabel Merced's Kay does throughout the film, because it looks like she's going to be the one that gets traumatized quite a lot. You know, she's just witnessed Navarro get chest bursted. So one of this
Real quick before you move on, one last thing.
well, it's still related to this. It's still
okay.
related to this. But actually, you go because I'm gonna.
So one last thing I had forgotten to mention about my impressions of that clip. The alien looks very practical there on that catwalk, like it's a man in a suit, and I had to stop and think about that. We haven't seen that since 2007. Because Covenant did not really have any practical aliens that weren't covered over with CG. I mean, you had some practical suits in the anniversary shorts, but I guess we're not really counting those. So just to
they were
see,
the stunt suits as well from Covenant.
Yeah, so just to see a new practical alien on set, and I'm sure we're going to get some amazing CG aliens as well. It's not to knock those, because I know that's been a conversation as well online. Like, I love seeing CG aliens for the first time in Resurrection. Those are really cool as well. But it has felt like there's been a noticeable lack of practical aliens in these recent films, and just seeing that again in this little clip got me super excited to see that on the big screen.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a whole conversation in itself, isn't it? And it always will be. Is the idea of the balance between CG and practical things? But I think there should be no argument of the benefits that practical things can give to the actors. You know, having something physical to react to bounce from, to help them emote better, and I think it shows in that clip. So one of the things I was getting at, sorry, is in terms of the punishment that Isabel Merced seems to get, is that the start of June, was it, Adam, that I went to London? I can't remember. It was, I think it was around the start of June. I got to go to London to watch a presentation, a footage presentation, I think they called it, with a Q&A with Fede. And they showed four scenes from the film that they've been going around showing at various events. They've done multiple of these footage presentations. Some of these clips were shown at the San Diego Comic-Con panel as well, from what it sounds like. And one of the clips was something we've seen bits of in the trailers, and it was Kay discovering the alien in the cocoon. Caspers brings up a point, practical fire field in Prometheus.
Yeah, but that's not a xenomorph.
And to be fair,
That's a quite fun zombie.
the CG version of that was much better anyway, and should have been the CG one.
Yep. Oh, and
Yeah.
to answer another question of yours, Casper, about the free facehugger masks at San Diego Comic-Con, that was for attendees of the panel, and they all got a free IMAX ticket as well to see the movie. I believe you can get a facehugger mask like that if you want to at HalloweenCostumes.com. They have those facehuggers with the eye holes, so you can see out of it, I guess.
I have something like that from the AvP Halloween costume days. Do you remember when they did like the alien head and the predator head? And they did a face hugger, but like the mask is this idea that it's a head, so it's like this whole mask that you put over it, somebody else's head with the face hugger on it. It's not the greatest. It's not the greatest, but I've worn that a few times as a cheap, easy Halloween get up with some camo trousers, my Sulaco shirt, and then the face hugger mask.
Well, speaking of San Diego Comic-Con marketing, I didn't see any of this in person, but I saw clips posted online. They had like realistic animatronic face huggers just on people's faces on the streets, and one was being chest bursted too and stuff.
He was at the panel as well, I think, the guy who got chest bursted.
Oh, was it the same guy? Okay. Yeah, those is a cool little, because they had all the lights go down during the panel, and then emergency lights came on, and they had some of the remote control face huggers skittering around, and that's when they passed out like the masks to people and stuff. So I was very sad to have missed that.
That's when I realized, oh, they're taking the marketing for this seriously. When they
that was when you realized.
Well, it's a fun gimmicky kind of thing, but it's something you tend to see with more bigger budget, more popular franchises and movies, and we haven't seen something fun like that done for a long while for an Alien or Predator movie. So seeing that, oh yeah, they're creating this little event thing for people coming in, it shows, it reaffirms that yeah, Disney, Fox, and of course they care enough to promote this in a stronger light.
It is nice to see the confidence going on around the marketing of the film. It feels more like, I don't want to jinx it by saying it feels kind of like Prometheus when they were, proper bigging it up as this kind of event film, but it is a nice feeling to know that
Maybe this will convince them to actually do something official for Alien Day next year, because they've been a bit lax on that front.
Yes, they have really wasted Alien Day, especially with products, especially with advertisements. If this does as well as Disney seem to think it's going to do, it'd be nice to actually see them big up Alien Earth for next Alien Day.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know there was some disappointment that there wasn't nearly as much official stuff coming out on Alien Day. Of course, you still have all the passionate fans and artists that put out a bunch of awesome things, and we did get some announcements. Like Rogue Incursion was officially announced on Alien Day as well. But yeah, I did feel a little lackluster this year, especially compared to the Alien Day we had on the lead up to Covenant back in 2017.
That was good. That was good. Anyway, Casper said, Adam, did you also get the green slime cup? So that's one of the Cinemark.
Cinemark, yeah, I did get that as well. I don't have it next to me, but I posted a little short on our social channels, so you can see it there.
Yeah, it's on the YouTube as well. That's the only one I can figure out. I can never figure out Facebook Shorts or Instagram Shorts. And I work in the technology field, guys. Fucking social media. Anyway, sorry, I was talking about the footage. So one of the scenes they showed was Kay discovering the cocooned alien, and Bjorn, there's something in the fucking water. Mate, that is my favorite thing that we have heard from Romulus, and I say that as a fellow Brit, that's just peak dialogue and peak delivery.
It's all in the performance.
Exactly.
Because yeah, when an actor like that says it, it seems charming, and for me, especially after seeing the interview with the crew and just how lovely they all are, I'm liking them more and more, and of their performances, it just somehow helps. But there's a difference between saying it, performing it like that, and or for instance, if you read that line in a novel, let's call it Colony War or something like that, it will probably have a different feel to it. So it really does hinge on the actors, how they deliver something. So yeah,
it's funny because it's one of those charming pieces of dialogue that is, I feel like, unintentionally funny, but we're laughing with it, not at it. It's not like David's "you blow, I'll do the fingering"
Yeah,
kind of line.
it is very meme worthy. But it's also very Alien 3-esque. It felt very British
very
Alien.
British.
Fucking water.
Oh man. Anyway, sorry. So Bjorn, yeah, we've seen bits of this in the trailer where he takes a tail through the chin. I took it to be his death in the footage, and I think in that clip that we just watched, the first clip, you see his body being dragged away, and you see Navarro's body being dragged away. You see the chest burst a hole. So I think that's what we're seeing there. And that was a really cool clip. That was one of the bits that I've not stopped thinking about since seeing that footage, is the alien emerging from the cocoon. There's been a lot of bits of it in the various trailers. They've been showing more and more of it. I think the Japanese one that we'll probably watch next shows a fair bit more of that scene. But to see it all, put together and see it linear, it was a really grotesque moment that was very well filmed and very alien-esque and very Giger-esque in how it was portrayed. It was very much this mesmerizing, disgusting birth that felt very much in play, very much a part of of the alien imagery, and I really love that, and I can't wait for everybody else to sort of see that scene and see it
And
in motion.
can I ask, as someone who's seen that, did it live up to that quote that's been with us since the late 90s? A beautiful, beautiful butterfly. Did
Well,
we finally get his
I mean, in some
like
ways,
horror butterfly?
you can kind of take some of the motion to be the unfurling of the wings. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll like that scene. I think it's
Better than the
very
newborn.
yes, God, yes.
Now you've made me wonder if we're going to see that longtime fan theory of the tail barb incapacitating someone.
Well, it's not a fan theory. It was a part. It was a dropped piece of the Alien
Aliens.
script.
Oh, okay.
So, how Gorman gets knocked out by the box falling on him in the APC. I think I can't remember if it was in the shooting script. I'll be honest here. I can't remember if it was in the shooting script, but in one of the scripts, and I believe the novelization, he takes a tail, and that's the thing that paralyzes him. And then, of course, we've got it in the games. Yeah, that's very much a part of AvP and AvP2.
Yeah, I do remember being confused when I read it in the novel. I thought, by boxes, but then on reflection, when you see it, it kind of makes sense of why Gorman's sort of being led out from the medical part and sort of being given medication. I think that's kind of like a hangover from that. They're trying to rectify whatever's been put in his system. But yeah, it's a James Cameron thing.
Mm-hmm. Do we get much of that in much of the other lore? Because I always think of the games and I always think of the script, and I can never really remember if it's in the novels or the other comics.
Effect, the poison details I haven't noticed in any of the other games and comics. I actually haven't even put two and two together that the stun from the tail in the AvP games was a reference to that. I always thought it was just a physical representation of kind of disorientation. But yeah, it makes sense. The newest instance of that tail poison being directly referenced has been brought back since the RPG with Free League, and maybe in the
Is that one
novel,
of the
in some of the
attacks?
yeah, where it can knock you out from the poison. But maybe in some of the novels since the RPG laid it out in black and white there, maybe it has did have it, but before that, comics and books didn't really reference that.
Fair.
We've
I don't remember
mentioned
it.
we've mentioned just then about video games. It's occurred to me the one bit of marketing we haven't had is like a spin-off video game, or at least a mobile game. Usually we've been having those in recent years. We haven't had that. At least
Well,
that we
in
know of.
Dead by Daylight, they are adding Keely Sweeney's character.
Yeah, like a
Blaine.
skin, but I mean
Yeah.
like a Romulus game. We haven't had it, even like a mobile one, which
Well, we
is
didn't.
interesting.
We didn't get one for Covenant, really. There was that VR
No.
experience.
Yeah.
But no, I think we are long past the age of movie tie-in games.
But we are getting a prequel comic, aren't we?
Yes, which I'm very much looking forward to, because
Yes.
that one kind of felt like it was a late decision with how far after the film that's going to be out. When's that? Is that October time? I think they announced the comic was coming.
Yeah, apparently.
And it kind of feels like that should be something you drop around or just after the release of the film. But then some of the interviews with the writer, I can't remember his name right now offhand. Somebody wants to look that up while we're talking. But one of the interviews with him was on about how he'd been working on this for a year or so. And I'm kind of wondering if this is just Marvel slotting it into the schedule, and it's just a stupid decision to slot it that far in advance. Well,
Writers
far
are
away.
Thompson.
Zach Thompson. Thank you, Adam. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that one because I think the idea is that is probably a bit more of the events that take place before the film, and a certain chap of large proportions might be involved in that short.
I mean, we know the station is not in a good way just from the trailers, and so I assume the comic will show us how it got to that point.
Indeed.
I know I keep bringing up the marketing for this movie, but I did get to see another piece of it during my California travels that was really, really cool. And I had to make a stop at a Regal theater at the LA Live Entertainment District because I knew they had a full size, I guess Scorched is his nickname, Xenomorph. And
That's his marketing name, at least.
Yeah.
That's what he's known by now.
I had to take a bunch of pictures and video, but that thing was full size, life size. So just being able to look at that in person and how detailed it was for like just a movie theater display, I'm like, really? You guys are just plopping a full size alien right in the theater lobby? I love the
wonder
design
if
of
it's
it.
made from. I wonder if it'd be made from the molds of, the actual practical alien, or perhaps the animatronics or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Mike and I think one of the artists, maybe it was Dane Hallett, was saying that it wasn't 100% accurate, but it was quite close. But yeah, it was just really cool. I want to try and see if I can get one of those for my home for the theater if they're going to get rid of one. But
I bet they cost a fortune even after the promotion's done.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I wonder if any of those feral predators have.
I don't think. I
They did
think that,
ferals, didn't they?
that wasn't like a wide movie theater thing. I think that was just something that ADI made, and they had it at one screening for Prey that was a year later. The one that kind of got rescheduled because the one I went to was in the middle of a hurricane, and that was a whole thing.
Well,
But
let's not forget the original space jockey prop is no longer with us because they put it on display on the
Yeah.
cinemas when Alien was released, and I think it caught fire or
I
something.
think someone set
Someone
it on
set
fire
fire.
because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
so horrible.
And we no longer have it. But that was one of those very early era ways of trying to promote the film. Put it in a cinema lobby, and boom, no longer with us.
They thought it was satanic, I believe, was some of the stuff from the newspaper reporting at the time.
Jeez.
Did you actually get to see the feral statue then? I can't remember.
I did not. No. Mike saw it and he took some video that he shared on our channel, so you can see it on our Instagram reels. But yeah, unfortunately, I did not get to see Mr. Farrell in person.
Scorch does look awesome. That statue does look
Yeah.
awesome. I love the details of it. I really like how it skews so much closer to Big Chap, but it's still very, it is still distinctive. There are features of it that make it not a clone of Big Chap, which is fine. The influence is there. I like that the aliens, part of the charm is each film has its own visual identity, and the aliens in those films match that visual identity, generally via color palette than anything else. But it is still, there's little things about it that make it its own thing. And one of the things Fede talked about at the Q&A of the session I went to was about how everything is justified. So there is narrative reasons for the differences with the face hugs, the differences with Scorched, other than the obvious. And that was something else that took place in the scene that I saw while he was in the cocoon. You saw how he got the injury. That was Bjorn sticking a cattle prod in there and giving it a good fucking jolt of electricity, and it comes out burning. And that was awesome. That was such awesome visuals.
How close the cattle prod? Do they look a lot like the original Nostromo cattle prods they
I
used?
can't
Different design?
remember, but it was very obviously a
Callback.
visual callback in a way
Yeah.
that that's like it's what we talked about with the last trailer discussion, wasn't it? Is how close do you get with the visual references to it being a homage or callback, a distracting thing. And it wasn't. I saw the cattle prod, I was like, oh, cool. World building, visual continuity, world building continuity. That it was a brief moment, and then we crack on, and I'm just too absorbed in the scene.
Yeah, I will also say this is one of my favorite Xenomorph designs in a long time. It definitely feels like there's some stompy influence with it as well, with the digigrade legs. But this is the most biomechanical looking Xenomorph we've had since those original films, and it's something we've all wanted for a long time, was them to kind of go back in that direction a bit.
So, couldn't agree more. I just wanted to add about the design that I've seen some people say, yeah, it's biomechanical. So some say it's a midpoint between the more AvP aliens and the biomechanical ones. But when I do not agree with those statements, because when you look at the textures, it's completely as biomechanical as the first two aliens in the films were. Well, I think what's probably confusing some people is that it looks less like a man in a suit with the proportions. Some people described it as a Dark Horse comic kind of take on a biomechanical alien, and I could maybe agree in that sense. It gave me some Labyrinth Plunkett vibes in the proportions.
Yeah, I've seen people making the same comments as well.
So
and
yeah,
that's where having things like the animatronic alien really comes in, because you can really get around those, manly, not manly, that's the wrong word, man in a suit kind of proportions. You can take, you can take the waist in a lot. You can make it look spindly. And Casper in the comment also says, Defiance vibes as well, because Tristan Jones was very obviously sort of inspired by Killian Plunkett, and Labyrinth's aliens are easily some of the best aliens we've ever seen. So is Tristan's, for that matter. So I completely agree with you there, and I'm curious to see it all come together. I'm curious to see more of the animatronics. There was, of course, a man in a suit in the film. That was something I did double check with Fede, because in a lot of the promotional, he'd been talking in particular about the animatronics, and when they opened the floor up to guest questions at the Q&A event, it was something I asked. He didn't tell us at the event who it was, but we now know who the actor is, as in it's not public knowledge, but we know it, and we will be having that person on the show after the film comes out, which is always fun. I love talking to the creature performers. We didn't really get to do that with Goran what's his face on Covenant, or the Andrew what's his face. That shows you how much I remember Covenant's creature performers.
We did have a creature performance episode with Tom Woodruff Jr. though.
Yes,
that was nice.
And fuck, I forgot his name. Carl Toop. I'm so sorry, Carl. I forgot your name there. He was the principal alien performer in Aliens. We had the first ever interview with him on our podcast about this time last year, to be fair, which was fantastic fun, and I really enjoyed that. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be having that interview as well at some point. Should we watch the Japanese trailer? Yeah, okay, let me add that to here. Okay, you ready?
Welcome to the Romulus space station.
So it's a lot of footage we've already seen, but
Run.
Or the
acid to
cocoon.
burn.
Oh my god.
That's so cool.
Are you sure you want to do this?
So cool.
Yep.
Lots of. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
We got some new shots of the aliens there, plural, because one is not scorched, and we have a glimpse of the hive down that hallway. So,
and as Casper says, that acid scene is absolutely wicked. I cannot wait to see that in full. I really can't.
It'll be so memorable already. I can see. I love already the hints at how they're avoiding it and everything. It seems like something very creative that can be finally done with our tech.
Pete, I hope it's done well, and I hope Peter Briggs likes it. I really do. And the use of acid is something I don't think we get enough of in the films, or in some of the wider lore. To be fair, I think it's a very underutilized part of the aliens, and this shot here in the trailer of somebody's hand burning makes me quite hopeful that we'll see some significant acid damage, especially with that scene, because I feel like that scene would be perhaps a little bit too silly if everybody gets away unscathed. So,
Yeah.
very
Well,
curious.
we've said
Also,
for ages that the whole thing about if it can melt through a starship hull, imagine what it can do to flesh and bone. And I do have to criticize the video game. We've had too many video games where it's got splashed with acid, better take a health kit and you're fine. Realistically, you get a cupful of that put against you. That's almost a death sentence. I mean, okay, Hicks was okay, but it was kind of like dispersed out, like with
Well, it was the fumes as well, really more than anything.
fumes
I think
as well.
with Hicks.
But we are seeing like this. This is how it should be depicted, and we have had for ages this kind of diminishing returns with how the acid plays out in alien films. This is the first time we've come back to that 79-86 depiction of acid is deadly. Don't let it hit you. And I think that whole thing with it in Zero Gravity, you're going to have this feeling of no, don't get near it. It's going to be a palpable sort of thing without an alien even being there. It's a nice plot device, and we haven't had it as a plot device for a long while.
Well, it's going to be an entire set piece, isn't it? And that's the really wonderful scaled up thing of it. We did get a cool moment of it in Requiem, when the Dale takes it to the face. And to be fair, that is part of that film. It is very mean spirited. A very mean spirited moment. That film is mean spirited, but it was still cool. And Casper says we kind of see it in Covenant, which is true. When Lope gets the facehugger cut off him, although that was originally scripted a lot better anyway. That thing was supposed to have broken his teeth, been a fair bit more violent and uncooperative with its removal and with its facehugging in general.
Yeah, it was a bit underwhelming, like in the sense of it did look nice, but we saw what a drop of facehugger blood did to levels of hull, and it just went through your cheek. So yeah, it could have been done more there. So,
and
well,
this still of it, the alien in the hive, you can see those eye sockets there, yeah, with the lighting like that.
Local trouble's gonna be mad.
Local trouble can be.
I'm not really.
Oh, I'm seeing it. I'm
Maybe.
seeing
It's
it.
hinted.
not
It's hinted.
seeing
Yeah,
it.
it's there. It's there. It's
Yeah,
very, very
if
low
you
light. It's
the
there.
lighting kind of changes here, Aaron. If you like unpause and pause again, I think you can see it a bit more prominently. There's a
Oh,
flash
yeah,
at the
I'm
end.
seeing it there as well.
Like keep
Uh,
back up and try it again.
this is good
Yeah,
podcasting.
like
That
that flash at the very end there.
Yeah. If you
I
frame by
know
frame, yeah.
they're. Yeah, I know they're in the sculpt. I'm just saying it's not.
I
not
think it's
seeing it.
it's reasonably noticeable there. I think unless it's that phenomenon where you're
I
thinking
think
you
it's
see
very subtle.
Probably,
I think
yeah.
it's very, very, very subtle. But for me personally, I think it's the perfect blend of visible, noticeable if you know what you're looking for, but
Yeah.
for somebody that's not focusing on it, they just see the dome and teeth. It's the perfect blend of subtlety versus existence there. And I love that shot in particular looks, to me, I think that's the shot where a man is in a suit instead of an animatronic. But also at the same time, it looks so good refined. I wouldn't be surprised if it's refined with some CG overlay, uh, but you can definitely see the practical effects there with the lighting, how they just merge beautifully. I love the thin, long profile of the head, the jaw. I like how it looks just sharper.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder if this is how we get our 0G scene. I wonder if this is acid damage taking out the artificial gravity. And Nick has joined us. Didn't realize, Nick, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were on Patreon.
Well, thank you.
So thank you. And he says the pulse rifle sounds nice. Should we play that through again? Should we just have a listen to that?
Yeah, you can hear a little blast of it there.
No, actually, let me unpause. Let me unmute the video. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Yep, that was a nice enough. And to be fair though, you can never really trust the sound design in the trailers anyway.
Yeah,
They're not always guaranteed to be the final sound.
Sounds
but if
punchy though.
it's,
I dig it.
yeah, if
I
it's
like the
similar
recoil
enough,
as well.
that would be nice to see, because as we've known in the past, a lot of games, etc., they don't really like to use the same sound, and a lot of fans do complain that it's never the right sound. So if we're getting a pulse rifle predecessor and having a close enough sound effect would really be the icing on the cake, and I expect that, knowing how much Fede is focused on all of these details. I'm sure it'll be pretty accurate.
Yeah. Now, I do like the recoil we're seeing from her in this. You know, that scene where it actually pushes her back in the zero gravity, because it gives the weapons weight. You know, and that goes into the ability to the believability, shall we say, of the footage that you're seeing.
And the perfect way to avoid the acid, use it as
Yes,
a
of
jet.
course, propulsion. Yeah, definitely. But no, that's a cool little trailer. Not a great deal of difference, but just those nice new little moments like we've discussed. But I do feel like the other full trailer had a very different. Well, it still had the same sort of vibe we've been having, but it was it certainly felt different to the other ones, and I think a lot of that is through. It feels very alien.
I love the use of the Lucky Star song in the final trailer.
Oh,
Should
yeah.
should we watch that now then? And this is the last one. This is the last one.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Actually, I'm just gonna pause here because so for audio listeners, this is the shot of the Corbellan, leaving the surface of the planet, and Fede has teased that this planet could be Thetis. You know,
Ooh.
the Nostromo's leaving point in Alien, and I kind of think it could be because of the visual of the planet and the rings, because it's very similar to the Nostromo crew patch. I think.
That'll
Eric's,
be an interesting plot point if they bring that up.
well, it's just
it's sort
interesting
of,
world building, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, if you're going by a crew patch, that would have just been one of many places the Nostromo
But
would
if
be
that's
going.
always
But,
doing the run from Thetis to Nostromo rather than running elsewhere,
well, maybe. But it's an interesting observation. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Imagine the in-world justification. After 50 runs, you get a patch, a permanent.
You get a Steam achievement.
Yeah.
sorry, let me continue. I'd meant to mention it before and I'd forgot, so I just wanted to make sure I brought it up.
There she is. You want to break in and steal highly regulated equipment.
This could be our only ticket out of here.
That's a lovely
Should be in and
shot.
out in 30 minutes.
Welcome to the Romulus space station.
Love it.
This place gives me the creeps. What the hell is this?
I don't know.
The fuck was that? Yo!
Stop playing around, man. Just get up.
I'm not playing around, there's something in the water.
What do you mean there's something
I
in the
don't know,
water?
there's just something in the fucking water. Run.
Are you alright?
Tomorrow! I don't know what to do.
Whatever comes, we'll face it together.
Let's go.
Impact event in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Man, every trailer to this has just been top tier, from the teaser to the theatrical and now the final. It's just, the hype is unreal at this point.
I love the use of Lucky Star in this. It's obviously a fucking Alien callback, but it's one of those charming ones where it's like, again, if that was in the film, I might get irritated, but in marketing, it is a very nice way to evoke that, that Aliens feel, without being obnoxious about it. It's fucking great. Really enjoyed that.
Whoever is in charge of marketing, especially with the trailers, how they're conceptualized, is doing a great a job. I as well. Every new one that I've seen has just gotten my excitement levels higher and higher. I just can't wait. I want the tweaks to be up now.
And that moment where the sirens come in when Kay starts the silent scream, I think, as well, is brilliant. Brilliant editing, brilliant trailer editing. Because then you've already got this punch of Lucky Star being like, yes, this is Aliens. Yes, Alien. This is perhaps a little bit more low key Alien. I don't think everybody necessarily. Oh, the fans, the fans do, but the casual audience probably doesn't associate that song with Alien like we do. But then when you hit this moment and the sirens start coming in, that is fucking Alien, and that is astounding. I love how that was edited together there. Nick says we need to react harder. Sorry, Nick, we're not
we're not that kind of YouTube channel.
No. I mean we can try and put some fake bullshit and reactions in there.
Where's my air horn?
You know what? We could even shall we all pose, do that horror, that crappy shocked face, and it can be the thumbnail for the entire episode.
Oh, he's trying to do the clickbait now.
Casper says that there's only one question that matters: will there be a drinking bird toy in the movie?
Oh, of course.
Of course, there's going to be a drinking, a dipping bird. I think there's always one.
There's no way there can't be. There's no way there can't be.
There's always one on these podcast shows, although I don't think you can see it. Oh no, I moved it. It's up there. Yeah, it's up there. Okay, it's not always in the show anymore because I moved it.
You had one job.
I'm sorry. And Rob says that was the first time they've watched the trailer, that particular trailer, and he's pretty excited. Rob, what are you doing, man? It's been out a week or so.
I hope trying to be disciplined and avoid things unlike us.
And he comes on, watches a spoiler discussion podcast. Rob, what are you doing, man? And there was a cool. So that's the moment with the Bjorn taking it up the chin.
They did say that Bjorn isn't dead in that shot.
Yes,
that he did not reveal.
Where's the clip of the tail? I wanted to grab the tail because I think that was something Caspers had mentioned earlier. Was the return of
the AvP extendable tail?
Yeah, where is it? I think
Casper mentioned it earlier. In fact, I was talking with Casper about a week ago, and he actually measured the dimensions of the tail. It is an AvP type tail, unless they're bringing in the Alien Resurrection nest is alive thing where it's growing out of the nest. But that is, the rear of the alien, and it's coming. That tail is too long.
No, we talked about this.
I like long tails.
We talked about this on the AvP podcast that is not currently out, but will be out come AvP's anniversary, 20th anniversary. The aliens have retractable tails. They've got retractable tongues. Why can't they have retractable tails, guys? It's all logic. No, I mean, it was a cool visual in AvP. It was a ridiculous logic thing.
But it works.
Yeah,
and it works here too. Like I didn't even notice it until someone said, "Oh, that's a bit of a long tail." I thought, oh, yeah, but you know what? It's that kind of Dietrich grabbing thing.
Yeah,
I liked it.
And Big Chap rising back up after Brett. There is some laws of physics that might need to be sort of ignored where you can. Casper says 5 meters long.
That's what she
sounds about right. Why not?
Okay,
Aaron, I'm sure you like seeing all the Hive stuff here.
I do, and especially the blue laser too.
Laser, yes.
Party in the Hive.
Honest to God, this one of the ways that I described how much I love Dark Descent was how much I thought it felt like somebody'd written a campaign of the Alien RPG, gone to town on it, absolutely fucking enjoyed the time writing it and putting it together, and I felt like it was something that I absolutely loved and was written for me. Everything we're seeing about Romulus feels in the same vein, where Fede sat down and wrote a fucking kick-ass custom scenario for the Alien RPG that just feels right up my street. And that is just the vibe I get from every single goddamn thing I see and hear about this film.
One thing it's missing when it's talking about the aesthetics is pink flares. We see pink flares, that will be complete, that aesthetic.
We've seen in one of the trailers somebody throw a flare.
Yeah, somebody throws one behind.
Are you talking about the breadcrumbs that Ripley leaves in Aliens?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. They're more Alien Isolation style than the Aliens one. So yeah.
And Fede and the cast and crew have done quite a few interviews recently as well. And there's been a lot of things said in that I find really interesting. You know, the themes of brotherhood and sisterhood and siblings that we've been hearing is something I'm very intrigued by. And it was something, I think, did David Johnson bring it up in one of the other interviews as well? Or it might have just been Fede. Sorry, there's been so much coming out, and Ridley called it the heart of the film was this dynamic. And Fede made a comment about how it's not something you really see in films. You know, you get a lot of focus on romantic relationships. You get a lot of focus on parent and child relationships, but siblinghood not very often. And you know, when I sat down and thought about it, I was like, yeah, I can't really think of many that have focused on it. And it's something I'm quite interested in because the film, from what we know of the film, it's presenting a lot of different ways of it. You know, Andy, the android, David Johnson's character, he sort of straddles the border between a caretaker that she outgrows, and it becomes more of a step. No, not really step, but you know, it changes from a parental kind of relationship to a sibling kind of relationship, and in a lot of ways, I think that's something that can happen with your family, can happen with your parents. You know, they stop being parents, and as you grow more adult, you become more friends. But in this way, it seems to become she's taking care of him, which again is in itself a bit of a parental thing because you know there's a whole thing of us taking care of them when they get older as well. But then you've got this whole thing with Bjorn and Navarro. You know, they are adopted siblings. So it's a lot of different portrayals of siblinghood in these characters that I'm very keen to see on what Fede explores.
I was
Rob
personally
Harvey just mentions there about Evil Dead. That's a valid observation too. Same director.
So it's probably something Fede likes exploring.
I was very surprised when I was watching those those short interviews with the outlets, how much I liked the crew we'll be seeing in the movie. I was really endeared by their dynamic and how genuine they seemed, at least. I mean, I have I had no problems. I liked the crew for the Covenant and for Prometheus. Great actors. There were great performances there, but I haven't really connected with any of them very intensely. But seeing these characters in the interviews, just how they're talking about the characters, talking about each other, and it feels nice, and it just makes me intrigued to see their dynamics play out on screen. And everything I've seen in the trailers just sells their performances. So I think that I am getting to like them more than I expected. I didn't think I was ever gonna dislike them because apart from the characters in Resurrection, I liked most in the movies. But I think that the cast here are gonna probably, some of them will leave a mark for me, and I'll probably be remembering them for a good time. So knowing that probably most are gonna die, it's not gonna be easy.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed it really comes across when we get there. And another interesting thing that's been coming out recently is they shot the film in narrative order, chronological order. That's not really something that films do. So that's interesting. I'm curious to see what kind of effect it plays on the performances to do it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it was total chronological order because I think the first day of filming was the colony, right? Because they posted that recent set video.
Yeah, but that's well, you'd expect they start on the colony. They depart from the colony.
Right, but there's something that happens before then.
Yeah, but that didn't involve that cast.
Oh, okay. So with that cast then.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was their first day, but what has been done before, we'll see.
Oh, well. I
What
think
about the
I'm.
posters, guys?
Oh, do you want to bring up the posters?
I don't know if
I
anybody has
I
anything.
haven't saved them. They're cool. How about that? They're cool. I'd
Yeah,
like to know everybody's favorite.
I'm not a fan of the poster designs.
they're varied.
They drop them all on the same day. My
Which
personal
is fine, because then it's not overloading too much.
My personal favorite is the Cinemark one, which Matt Ferguson did. He also did one for Prey that was really good.
I'm saving them now to display on the video at least.
And he's just a great poster artist. I also really like the IMAX one and the ScreenX one. I didn't realize the movie is coming out in ScreenX, and that's an interesting new format that I've seen a few movies in now, including Avatar: Way of Water, The Creator, and Napoleon. So one of my rewatches of Romulus will definitely be in ScreenX. Unfortunately, we don't have a 40X theater at our Regal here in Salt Lake City, but
I didn't like 40X.
did you try
boring.
it? It's kind of been memed now with twisters and stuff, and I was wanting to see it with that, but
okay, let's show a couple of these posters. So he says, can he show them? No, he can't because he hasn't done that.
Could you just go to the AvP Galaxy article?
I don't have my other flipping. Yeah, I don't have my other monitor on at the minute because it's powering my fan since I'm dying. Sorry, we'll have to leave it. But
so Nick, to answer your question real quick, ScreenX is where it's kind of like a triple monitor setup, but in a movie theater. So the walls are meant as peripheral vision screens. You're not supposed to look at them, but it is more immersive. 40X is
those.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it worked with The Creator, and Avatar. I thought it worked with pretty well. It doesn't work as well if you're seated too far back. I've noticed because unless the sides are in your peripheral, it's too distracting, and you can tell they're not up to the same quality as the screen in front of you. 40X, it is just the screen in front of you, but your seats move like a ride. And I've seen some footage online of twisters, and it looks like the Mr. Bean movie where he cranks up the motion simulator ride to 11 and people are flying out of their seats and stuff. And I'm like, how are you supposed to do this if you need to go to the bathroom or get concessions or whatever? There must be popcorn all over the theater. And we do have that here called D-Box, but it doesn't have all the theater effects like 40X does, which I guess has smoke and flashes, and you even get a little wet or something. So,
yeah. I saw Star Trek Beyond in 40X. That was enough. That was enough for me. It's just such a gimmick. I can't really stand the gimmick ones. I saw Godzilla, the one with Millie Bobby Brown. Is that her name? Millie Bobby Brown?
Millie Bobby Brown, yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown.
The Things girl.
Yeah. Which Godzilla was that? Was that
She was in King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah. So I saw that one in 40X and I was like,
not for you.
It's fine.
You loved it then.
I do like ScreenX, but I will be seeing it for the first time in IMAX because it is one of those IMAX movies that does have a bit more picture on the upper and lower parts. So
I will be seeing it in an ordinary cinema because that's what's local to me. Like most people, I don't have IMAX or anything.
Chevy and I are going to go watch it in IMAX.
See,
when that comes out.
I'll be watching it on IMAX on the 15th as well, so I can't wait.
Cannot fucking wait for this. I really can't. Rob Harvey says, I think the Empire Cinema near me is doing 40X. I'd rather go for the Odeon recliners. But yeah, I think I'm all talked out on the recent stuff. you guys, anything else you guys want to say? No, Eric's good.
We'll just see you on the other side, guys, when we're reviewing this movie. It'll be a fun one.
Indeed.
Yes,
Couple
that will
more
be our next one, won't it? Reviews.
possibly. Who knows? Because there's so much shit to get through. We've got Black, White, and Blood to review. We've got What If to review. We haven't even talked about any Rogue Incursion stuff yet, but that's fine. That's.
Are we gonna get a Lego playset?
Probably.
Are there any inclinations?
Nick, we've already talked about the NECA stuff earlier.
I wanted to give one more quick shout out. On my way home from San Diego Comic-Con, I made another stop in Las Vegas, and I stopped at the Movie Prop Experience in Fremont Street, and the people there were really nice, and they showed us some of the props they have on hand for Alien, Predator, and AvP. So keep an eye out for those. I'll be doing some posts of those soon. I also got to stop at a shooting range called the Gun Store, and I got to shoot an actual pulse rifle, which was a lot of fun.
Indeed. You get all the coolest shit over there. It's ridiculous. But I'm looking forward to seeing that stuff, Adam. So everybody else should keep an eye on the website and the YouTube channel for that funness. Before we go, I did just want to shout out some of our recent Patreons. So just going back to June, we have Milo Davis, we have Scott Taylor, we have Mike Rude, we have Casper, who has been joining us in the chat today, and we also have Graham. Thank you very much for your support, guys and girls.
And who's Nick? Who I guess just barely, right?
Well, I've just refreshed the page, and I don't see him. Is this where Nick's a legacy subscriber member and is abusing the links I post in there? Which is fine. We fully expect that. But thank you, everybody, for your support. It's very much appreciated. And very much looking forward to getting to see and discuss Romulus and getting to do all these fucking interviews we've got coming up. I mean, we're going to have Fede on the show. How fucking cool is that? It's always awesome when we get to chat to folk, and everything I've seen from him. Well, I mean, I spoke to him at the event. I haven't talked about that. You know, the presentation that I went to, you know, I did the thing where you hang about and try and catch somebody's attention after the event's done. And I got to talk to him. You know, he recognized me from our previous trailer discussions, which was fucking cool and quite, you know, quite humbling. And showed me some pictures on his phone, because we were talking about, he asked my opinion of the footage that we saw. One of the things I talked about, you know, was that visual continuity, that visual world building, and he whipped out the phone to show me bits of that set that we've now seen. You know, the Jackson Star. Was it Jackson Star? Yeah, Jackson Star Colony. And he was geeking out over showing me the bar sign and stuff like that, and it was really cool to speak to him. He's very obviously passion filled. He's very obviously very clued up on the franchise, and you know, one of the things he talked about during the Q&A was how much time he'd spent on Xenopedia and how much he'd sort of pissed off his crew, trying to get specific details right and accurate, because he was like, no, the fans are going to pick this apart. We need to get this right and make sure it matches all the other stuff, which is why we've seen things like him talk about the general when it comes to the design of the pulse rifle and stuff like that. So I'm very much looking forward to getting into the creative nitty gritty with him when the time comes around, once the film's out. So yeah, I hope everybody's excited. I hope you're all going to be keeping an eye out for that stuff. Our next episode will be our retrospective 20th anniversary discussion on Paul Anderson's AvP. That will be out on or around the 20th anniversary. I do aim for on. I did try to get interviews for that, guys. I'm sorry, I really failed. I went through so many different people trying to get somebody on to discuss AvP, but everybody was too busy. Make of that what you will.
Maybe when we hear of a new AvP movie in a decade or so, maybe people will be happy to talk.
Only a matter of time.
Once Dan Trachtenberg proves regular success with Badlands and then Prey 2, and Fede's Romulus turns out to be a hit. And Nick, I hounded Paul Anderson's agents for months, mate. I tried. I really genuinely tried. So that was a no-go, I'm afraid. Anyway, thank you to our patrons who have joined us in the chat. We always enjoy getting to talk to you guys as well as we're doing these live recordings, which is, of course, a benefit of supporting us. You can find out more on patreon.com/AvP Galaxy. I think it's that simple. Is it Adam? Adam's nodding at me.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And where else can people find us, Adam?
You can find us on all the major social channels: Facebook, X, Instagram, and Threads. We also have a Steam group and a Discord server.
And what cool shit can people look forward to in these next coming weeks?
Oh, we got so much. We're going to have interviews. We're going to have reviews for Romulus. There's a lot of news coming out. We'll be going
specifically, Adam. Come on.
Well, we have the AvP anniversary. I am also working on a specific.
There we go. Come on.
AvP
Tell me what you're working
I'm
on.
very excited about, but I'm not going to get into details on. But that will be timed around the AvP anniversary. And I've been working on that for a while, and we have some exclusive, never before seen stuff with that. So that will be very exciting. Of course, Alien Anniversary. I can't speak today. Alien Isolation Anniversary is coming up in October. We have some
Still
stuff.
not what I'm getting at, Adam.
What are you getting at? What do you want me to talk about?
Where have you just fucking been?
Oh, the Las Vegas stuff?
Yes, the next coming.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, that as well. San Diego Comic-Con interviews with Alien Rogue Incursion. I have a lot I'm working on. I'm probably working on AvP Galaxy stuff for the next week. So you will see when it comes. I'm not going to lay it out all for you right now.
Oh my god. He's got cool shit coming out
Yeah,
that I'm going to have to be on his back for the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye on the YouTube channel and keep an eye on avpgalaxy.net for some cool stuff that Adam has got in store for us. Thank you, everyone.
No, you can't talk.
Thank you, everybody, for listening or watching. This has been Corporal Hicks.
RidgeTop.
Xenomorphine.
Still collating.
And there's something in the fucking water. Bye, folk.